introduce yourself first.
Sure,
Sorry.
absolutely. Hello, everyone. My name is Mark Russo, and I work for the Massachusetts Division of Marine Fisheries, and we have a field office. Annisquam Marine Field Station is in behind the high school in Gloucester, and I've been there for about 15 years. We also have another field office out of our New Bedford facility. I head up the division's habitat program, and we work on an array of different things from habitat restoration and monitoring to permit review. So anybody that has to apply for a dock and pier or a wall or whatever in a coastal piece of property, there's a suite of permitting agencies that have to review those files to ensure that they're meeting state standards. What else do we do? We build artificial reefs. So we have a couple of artificial reef sites existing right now in Nantucket Sound, and we're hoping to get another one up off of in Lower Cape Cod Bay somewhere off the Dennis Brewster area within the next few years. We have to go through permitting for that. And we're the point people for our agency for all things climate change, which is, encapsulates a lot. Since we regulate fish, we want to make sure that we have a good understanding of what's going on in the marine environment with respect to how it impacts fisheries. And so one of the things we have are these temperature monitors. These are called Pro V2s, and they're built by a company in Wareham, Massachusetts called Onset, and they build a suite of different field monitoring equipment. What this does is you can attach it to your computer with this shuttle, and you can set the frequency for which it records temperature down to the seconds if you'd like to, and then it will just run continuously until you retrieve it and plug it back into the shuttle and download the data. And then we use that data. I'll get to it in a minute. This is where we have them currently stationed throughout the Commonwealth. So all these blue dots, the red dots are the sites that we're looking to deploy some more materials, some more loggers at. And one thing you can't really tell on this particular image is that they're at very different depths depending on where they are. Some of the near shore stuff, we'll put these in streams that are accessed by a diadromous fish that spawn in fresh water and return to salt water for part of their life stage. And some of these are in as deep as 115 feet of water. And so there's around 60 of them throughout the state, and the various projects that work for DMF are responsible for going in and swapping these out. We try and swap them out annually. The limiting factor on data collection on these things is two things. It's going to be the battery life, and then it's going to be how frequently you set your recording interval. So battery life is going to be diminished with the more temperature readings that you take over time. So we like to set it at 1 hour time intervals, and we let them run on or about a year before we recover them, and we immediately replace them with another one, so we have a continuous temperature data set from the bottom of the ocean. It's very different from the top of the ocean. The top of the ocean, your temperature readings are going to fluctuate based on the air environment, whether it's a sunny day or a cloudy day or a snowy day. That's going to affect the fluctuation in temperature at the surface of the ocean a lot more than it is at the bottom. So this is a real general indication of long-term trends. If we collect data for 10 or 15 or even 20 years, you can start to see patterns in the temperature. And so that's our intent here. So I didn't come with a presentation specific to you folks, but I have a bunch of slides that I can pull up to give you a better understanding of sort of where we are and what we're doing. So here's a good slide showing you where our proposed sites are. There's another slide on here that will give you an indication of what the temperature looks like when you download it. This is several years worth of data here. So 2000 to 2013, and you can see how it fluctuates, right? So your winter time, your fall and the winter, it starts going down, then on or about whenever the date is, it starts to climb, and you have that fluctuation every year. And you can see different sort of mini peaks and valleys in here throughout the course of a season. And over time, you're going to get a running record of how that temperature is moving have at it. Ask questions whenever you'd like to.
Yeah, sorry. Why is there consistently 2 peaks instead of just 1 peak up and down?
That's a good question. Like this here, is this what you're talking about?
Yep.
This.
Every single one of them has 2 peaks.
I'm not sure why. I'd have to go back and look, and I don't know if it might be. This doesn't indicate what the station is, where it is, or what depth it's at. So that might have a factor. Also, if it's in less than 10 feet of water in an estuary, they tend to warm up a little bit quicker than like a deeper ocean environment. So you might see some fluctuation in there. Some of it is definitely storm related. You see that more typically in the fall when there's a sharp drop in the temperature based on the change in the prevailing winds and things like that. So all that comes on one of these. This is 20 years worth of data that's basically been, probably about a half a dozen of these that have been deployed and recovered and pulled the data off it. And then we do this at 65 different stations. In some projects, like our lobster project, they've used the data to demonstrate a decline in lobster populations in southern New England. So Buzzards Bay area, there hasn't been very much, if any, commercial lobster fishing going on in that region for about 5 years now because the population's depleted to the point where it wasn't economically feasible. And it was not because of overfishing, it was because of warming temperatures. The entire population made a northerly shift. We saw it coming. It happened also in Connecticut a few years prior to that. So what we're looking to do here with this is we're going to put this into the housing. You're going to want to fill it up with water and then cap it. And you're going to hold on to this. And what you want to do is figure out where the spot is that you want this on the bottom. And you're going to attach a line to it. And it can be as close to like right off the dock out here if that's a good enough spot. It sounds like you guys already have a spot filled out. But you're just going to attach a line to it and you're going to let it go. You're going to drop it without any equipment on it whatsoever. And then when it gets to the bottom, what you're going to do is you're going to go after it and you're going to just set it up. You're going to go down the line that's attached to it. It would be buoyed to the surface. You're going to take one of these bolts out. You can leave one of them in at all times. One of them can stay in because you only want to access it from one side. But the purpose of the bolt is just to make sure that whatever carriage type device that you use stays inside. So I would, just keep this one tight. And then you can throw this inside here like so. And once it's in there, you want to take this and you want to close it up. So things to remember, it's going to be a year or so before you're going to go back out there and recover this. So you're going to want to know what size nut this is beforehand, because before you get to the bottom, you're going to be like, I have the wrong wrench, So make sure you just we're pretty minimalist. We bring the minimum amount of equipment that we need down there because the more you bring, the more you lose is really what it comes down to. So if you know what this is, have a couple of wrenches on hand with you when you go down. Take it off, swap it out, put a new one in, and you can get a new one from me when you're ready to swap it out. Just give me a call. I'll provide it, and I'll show you how to dump the data too. And then you put it on, and that's it. That's why this is a very effective tool, because you sort of leave it in place. You come back a year later, and you have 6,000 to 8,000 data points that you didn't have before you put that in the water. And I do have one more. If I can go into my computer here, I can show you a couple more things. Here's 1 year's worth of data. And the site is one of the artificial reefs. So you can see that, and this is in about 35 feet of water. You can clearly see October dropping down, January, February, starting to climb in March. Lots of variability in the summer. And what do you think this peak is here and that peak is there? Any idea?
Data collection?
It's when this comes out of the water. And we put it in our truck and we drive it from wherever we are back to the office. It's continuing to collect data while it's out of the water. So it's important when you go in the water that you record the time and the date and all that stuff so we can match it up to the records that we have. So when we go to, we call it ground truthing or QA/QCing data, we can cut these little ends off and marry it to the data set before it or after it, so it still maintains its continuous nature, but it doesn't have these anomalies in here that really have nothing to do with the bottom temperature anyway. So thought that was important to show you all. That's sort of one running record, and so the bottom is the date, and this axis here is temperature, and it's in Celsius. But you can also set that on the logger itself, and I can show you how that works.
It's interesting, you do kind of see two peaks
Yeah.
every year.
Yep. And
So I
it's
guess it'd be seasons. Winter, summer, two
I
peaks.
I don't know. If this were projected differently, it might not look like two peaks either. You know what I mean? If it were shifted one way or another, so it's tough to
What I
say.
was talking about was when it was rising from
Yeah.
winter to summer, there was a peak, and then
Yeah.
a peak again in
Yeah.
summer, and so I was like, why is there two
I saw
peaks?
it, and I don't have an answer for you, but my guess is, with that type of variability, you're looking at one of the loggers from one of our shallower sites. It's more subject to air temperature fluctuations than some of the deeper ones, like the one that we have in 113 feet of water. Unless there's a big nor'easter that comes through and stirs it up, the data is just a real continuous flow from one day to the next. You see more variability in the more shallow. That's up to you guys. You guys can put it, where you can access it. As long as you know where it is, you're gonna have to go back to it every year. And there's different ways to do that. You can get a waypoint, a GPS point, and go back to that and dive on it. You can tether it to something on the shore that you can just follow right back down to find it. You can buoy it. I wouldn't recommend it. It's gonna get fouled. It's gonna get tangled. It's gonna get lost. Or even worse, if it's grabbed by the wrong boat, it's going to get moved. It could take the whole thing and shift it 30 feet, or 40 feet or whatever. And my experience working underwater when there's bad visibility, 40 feet is a lot, and it's going to be more difficult to find it if it moves. So this, like I said earlier, this was a company out of Wareham, Mass. Called Onset, and they make a suite of different environmental monitoring equipment devices. And this comes with we call it the Messenger, but there's different attachments that go on the top. Basically, it's just an infrared reader. It sends a signal to the device sends the signal back, and it goes right into your computer. And depending on the device, your adapter will be different. So for this one, it's round and it's got a little slot in it. So you just plug it in, and you put this in, and this goes in the computer, and it will dump all the data for you. I can show you if you'd like to. Are you guys interested in seeing that? I'll do it through my computer. So this is the software here. It's called HoboWare. Absolutely. You want it? This is it's not waterproof. It's a desktop device. So
you want that clean and dry.
yeah, you want to keep this away from water, and then you don't have to, like you saw those little peaks. You don't have to wipe these down download these things immediately, but you'd like them dry. And one of the things that this does is it eliminates light from contacting this, so you don't get any growth on it. When it comes out of this, it's going to stink a little bit because it's been filled with a canister of decaying salt water for a year, but it's not going to be fouled. It's going to be clean. So, so you download this. This is actually free software. It's called HoboWare, and then you take this and down here it says ready, no device selected. I tried this in the office. It worked on one of these, and it didn't work on the other one. So I'm hoping it'll work today. But if you plug it in, see, it recognizes the water temperature, U22-001 water temperature. And then you just go up here to the device. You're going to get a CSV file, which is basically a type of an Excel file. It's basically a data file. And you can load that file into Excel. And when you load it into Excel and you map it, that's what you get right there. So here's your columns on the side. So it's the number, that's the date, and that's the temperature, and then that's that mapped out right there. So
Why is the date all,
I think it's just because the column's not wide enough.
Does it graph it for you automatically? Is that a function?
Yep.
you have to-
It'll graph it for you automatically. So the next question is, what do we do with the data, right? So right now, we're just archiving a lot of data, and we're making it available to the public, but it's a very cumbersome platform because it requires our staff to go in and basically download the data and provide it in a format that our customers want it. What we're working to do is to make it publicly accessible through like an online platform. It's still going to require some quality controls, making sure that we're putting the right information in there, and that will require our full-time staff. But ultimately, the best use of this data is in the hands of the people that are looking at things like fisheries and climate change. And so that's our ultimate goal. And I think you'll see that happen in the next 2 or 3 years because climate change is a strong initiative of our current administration, and when that happens, there's more funding that becomes available, and that's really what's driving this not happening is we don't have the funding to do it as an agency. So it's something that we would prioritize if that funding became available. And so who knows? Maybe at some point in the next 5 years, your Gloucester Harbor temperature monitor data will be publicly available. So that's where we're at. Do you guys have any questions for me?
Is it better if the probe is put into deeper water or shallower water? Because deeper water you get better readings, right?
We don't get better readings. We just get different readings,
Oh.
right? So less variability because there's more water to buffer the environmental conditions of the planet.
Yeah, I was wondering a little bit about being in the harbor as opposed to open ocean.
In the harbor, you're gonna get more of those little peaks around things like storms, like nor'easters and stuff like that. They'll actually register. You'll see differences there.
From outflow, from groundwater outflow, rainwater?
If you had rain, you'll see rain events. Definitely, you'll see rain event activity in there, especially big rain event activity. If you were to get a really cold snap and the harbor were to freeze over, you'd see things like that. Your temperature is never going to drop below, I think, 28, because that's where salt water freezes. But we've seen it. We've seen sort of colder water at temperature. So, but in general, that's about where it's going to sort of bottom out.
It's like in February, it almost reached 0 on that one.
Yeah, almost. If you want to just deploy it off the dock, we could go fill this up. We could launch the logger right now, and it would be ready for you to go. We would take the time, and even if you didn't get to it today, if it was a week or two from now, and you were put it where you want it, it's going to start collecting data as soon as we turn it on. We just have to know when it gets deployed, and then from there, that maybe one of your projects in the summertime would be to contact me and get a new monitor, and I'll come down here and I'll give a similar speech and give you a new temperature monitor, and you guys could swap it out as part of your work activities. I'm gonna give you something that's fairly new. We in-house have a 5-year shelf life for all of these things. The batteries will last longer than 5 years, but we found some drift in some of the data that is collected. So self-imposed 5-year deadline. What I'm going to give you is going to be a year or two old, and it will be more than capable of covering that 1 year. They offer several different types of devices. We chose the Pro V2 because it's accurate to within 0.2 degrees Celsius. They have some that are not as accurate. They're accurate to about 0.5 degrees Celsius, but you can change the battery in them yourselves. So those are called pendants. I think I might have a photo of one that I can show you. They're a little smaller. And they also can collect light data as well. So that's one right there. So that's not to actual size. It's probably about half the size of that. So
Is there a display screen or an indicator light when it's on? You're going to show us how to turn the thing on and make sure it's on. Because like you said,
there's a little set of lights in there, and you'll get a red flash. And the computer will tell me when it's initialized as well, too. So it really is. If you guys want to do this today, I can just start this up. Yeah, you'll find this a year from now will not look like this one bit. It'll look like
Gnarly.
yes.
It looked like an abandoned lobster.
Mostly invasive species too, unfortunately, because they dominate the harbors.
Anything else you guys want to know?
Who built it? Did you all build it together?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your
Mostly him.
first experience with concrete?
No, not first experience. I did my patio one time.
Yeah. No, it looks great. It looks awesome.
I think we
It's a
did
perfect size, right? That's one bag,
put a
right?
Very faint
Yeah.
handprint and drew and
Yeah. So this is the launch screen. The logger itself is hooked up to the computer right now. The battery state is good. It's the second deployment of this particular unit. It's going to collect temperature at 1 hour intervals starting now, and it's going to log for 5 years. So as soon as I hit the start button, you're good to go. This is ready. It's recording temperature.
alright. No, Gavin.
Once an hour.
He's ruining our measurements.
Alright, so we should probably put, that's heavy.
Yeah, it's very heavy.
Here, I got it. We're gonna
No. We're both let go.
I'm gonna put it back in the thing, just gonna.
This is another
Tourniquet.
and then this is a club
sea
tunicate
sword.
wrapped inside here. I don't see any already. Some sea squirts right here.
Oh, look at that crab. Step on it.
And all of that is
It's
invasive.
an oyster.
Yeah.
That's not an oyster.
Look at that crab walking.
There's an
This
oyster.
this looks like
Wow,
this
that's
looks like
crazy. There's
there.
also a crab that we're looking at.
Chondrus crispus. This is not invasive. The algae.
There's an oyster.
Wow. There's various forms of slipper shells. You can see that's a sea squirt that's being eaten by another tunicate. Most of the crabs here are invasive green crabs. It's
You
kind
got a
of
wrestling match going on there,
And
right?
Yeah.
do they get bigger
Slow
than
motion.
that? I mean, there's our baby ones, or that's their full size?
what the crabs get
Okay, yeah.
bigger.
Get that oyster. That's crazy.
Yeah, the whole bottom of the harbor. European oysters weren't around in any major quantities 10 years ago. They're Boston Harbor in particular. They're Salem Sound too. There's a lot of them.
Can you eat them? Well, what is that?
That is a fish. I think that's a radiated shanty. I'm not positive.
Look, it looks like an eel.
Small. Yeah, pretty sure that's what it is. It's probably other fish.
Crazy. It's
So
hiding
is
up in
this-
there.
You were talking about these things. So is this how they like surround
radiated
something and
shanty.
eat it that way? Wow.
Yeah, they're like
Oh, fish. Look at that fish.
opportunistic. Anything covering anything, they're gonna grow over it.
That's a rock gunnel.
Rock gunnel.
Rock gunnel?
That is a rock gunnel.
It's my favorite fish.
I thought it was a radiated shanty, but I think you're right.
I don't think you're visible.
July and July is the
Yeah,
7th month, so it's
very small.
25.
He and his wife had the company, and then they had a bunch of people who worked mostly out of their homes.
2023. Sea Scout Ship 5.
This and that. I didn't have the science background, but it was called Lighthouse Technical Consultants.
Uh-oh.
So LTCI, and they've rebranded to now they're LTCI.
So, in case for some reason this comes out, we want to mark this one, right?
Yep.
Sign it or?
We have to put a phone number on there. Let's put a phone number on there, you guys.
That's us.
What's, or email? Email might be better.
Have you emailed the thermometer in yet?
I don't know. Man, I don't know. Why are you asking me?
Like, what can I buy off the shelf in Home Depot?
Probably not. Hey, can we have the thermometer? Yeah. Okay, should we fill it up with salt water?
I would fill it first. Fill it all the way up and then drop this right in there.
No. Oh, wait, yes, we are.
So put that in there.
We'll fill it up with salt water first.
Alright, then you do.
Yeah, fine, I will. Maybe I will.
Hey,
I'm
trying not to get a bunch of organisms and debris in here.
You're fine.
We'll just make it smell a little less bad when we open it up a year from now.
Okay. Now drop this in.
Yep.
Give me the, where's the top?
And don't put it in there yet, because I'm gonna, we'll drop that in.
Okay,
Yeah,
That's
what's
going
the
in
date and
before
time?
you.
Yeah.
What's the
Hand
date?
tight is good, not too tight.
It's almost
Maybe a little, maybe back it off a quarter turn just so
Do you want to let any air
I'm not
out?
very strong.
you see it. That's exactly what you don't want. You want to make sure that that's good. And it's gonna leak, so it'll leak the other way once it's on the bottom.
Yeah. So to let the air out, so you get all water.
There's a little air in there. But it's gonna leak.
Wait, so we're gonna put it in there now?
Yeah, right?
Oh, you wanna bring it down?
Yeah.
You want to bring it down and put the bolt in and make sure the bolt's on and everything?
Yeah.
So
I don't
you
know what the
should drop
visibility is
this.
like.
Well, why don't we
Have a
take,
line
why
for
don't we
this?
keep the bolt out for now? Because I'm gonna have to go back down.
You're gonna carry it. You're gonna have to carry it
Yeah,
down.
if you lose the nut, then it's bad.
Why don't we assemble it now and put it down?
The safest place for it is there, and then you can just go down and I won't. I'll just hand tighten it
Okay.
a little bit. But that way, it's all in one spot, you know.
And he doesn't have gloves on, so he's not gonna drop it.
Yeah. And I can,
Lose a nut or
no, I can put it in my,
You're gonna need
in here. If,
You're gonna need some kind of a line to attach it so we can lower it down.
What's that one?
I have some, but I didn't bring them.
What's that one right there?
That one has probably a trap on it.
Does it?
No, it doesn't have anything on it.
Is that gonna be deep
Is
enough?
It's just got a bowline. It's got a broken bowline.
that shows you the strength
Do we
of
have
knots.
a line?
Come to Knots and Navigation for Sea Scouts, and we'll teach you how to tie a knot strong enough that the rope will break before the knot does.
You're gonna untie this. We'll just bowl in it right here. That's all I would do. There, you can tie a bowl, right?
Can you though?
Come on, Sea Scouts.
On knots. Knots and navigation. These are skills, boys.
Why is this rope so stiff?
They would be so proud.
So dry. It's not a bowline. It is, but it's all messed up because it's so dry. Close, look at it. That is a bowline.
Make sure it's right.
So dry.
Hey, don't pull on one.
You've been here before, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that should be good.
All right.
That is a bowline, Dad.
Yeah.
That's good. All right. Drop it in.
I don't know how deep. I'd say we put it in. I'd say we put it in.
Once you
Because I don't know how
put
deep
it in?
it is here.
Sea Scouts want to get there and put it in?
I'll lower it.
True. You can just direct it.
It's
It's good.
right in.
It's good. Further? No.
Are we like trying to throw it out as far as we can?
Yeah, we're doing it above, Kevin.
Lowering it down right under the dock.
He's just gonna position it.
You just have to position it.
See how Mark didn't tighten it down? No, he didn't tighten it down all the way on purpose, right?
Right.
Because it's going to be fouled and nasty when we go for
Yeah,
it.
you want some play on that by hand. Otherwise, like I said, don't. You're gonna have to bring some wrenches with you also. But
So Adam, you guys know
fewer
what
tools
size
that you need to use, the better.
Okay, you want to hold one side and I'll hold the other?
Yep.
And make sure that the line is not around your feet.
And I've got extra bolts. Probably just put a fresh bolt in every time we place it.
Try to throw it out if you can a little.
Okay, well, I can't because there's not enough. Okay, go.
Nice. Now it's lighter.
Go back.
Not super light.
Gavin, can you like push it out?
How deep is it? Can you see the bottom?
How deep does it get? Let's see.
Keep going.
Good.
You hit the ball?
Yeah, you can go down there and see if you can't see it. Make sure it's in a good spot. And untie the rope.
Give her a good check.
I don't need this.
When we're done, it's gonna take that long. I know, it's not gonna get long. It's just, this is my watch. My stuff by the place and my watch.
I'm gonna have to move a little bit more. So
Should I go up here so I can bring it a little closer? Pulling it.
you're good. You just keep on doing that. I'm able
Okay,
to
every
pull.
time you tug, pull, or and then just give you slack.
And then give me slack. Yep.
And I like, I mean, you were talking about, you were getting it about as far as. It was tomorrow, when we go on the boat, you guys can interact with other people.
Is that good? Okay.
Perfect. We got it in a nice open area.
What's the bottom look like? Is it all muddy? Is it sandy?
Sandy kind of mud,
Nice.
sand.
Yeah.
Got a lot of silt up right now.
You need to go down and untie that knot.
Yep. Can I have my flash?
Yeah.
And we'll do that to other people on the boat. And others.
All right. This one I'm gonna check everything and then take it off.
I lost my phone in the water yesterday
Careful watch. I found a couple watches on the beach.
Yeah, it's, I mean, it has to fall off over my hand, so.
I was on a little dinghy and we tugged.
Well, it's, you know, I've been growing for 12 years. When I first started
Here he is.
Everything looks good?
hiding them.
All good.